show you how to make eggs and hash browns. So if you've ever been to Denny's and you have those crispy hash browns that everybody likes, how do they make it? Have you ever tried the frozen ones? Have you ever tried fresh ones, grating your own potatoes? It never really works the same. Well, I have figured out the trick, thanks to my dad. It's these. It's dehydrated potatoes. That's what Denny's and a lot of other restaurants that get those real crispy hash browns that we like so much use. Not only are they cheap, they're easy to store, easy to rehydrate, but you get that crispiness that's really difficult with other types of potatoes. So let's get to it. So with these, the directions, here you go on the box. You can vary that, try different things. Basically what I do is I dump about that much, which is about probably 3/4 of a cup, maybe a cup in there. I turn on the hot water, let it get hot. There's specific measurements on the directions if you want to follow that. It doesn't really matter. I've tried it multiple times and it turns out completely the same. So anyway, just get your dry potatoes in here. Fill it up with water to where there's plenty of water in there. Because they're dehydrated, they're going to soak that water up. So you want to make sure there's extra so they get all the water that they need. Doesn't matter the exact amount because you're going to pour the extra out anyway. So we'll leave this sit about 10 minutes and I'll be back with you. All right, guys, so we're ready. It hasn't been quite 10 minutes, but I felt the potatoes, there's no dryness to them, anything like that. So they've soaked up all the water they're going to soak up. So let's pour out the extra water. Let's do that off camera here. There's nothing super exciting about pouring off the water. I just put my hand over the edge of the potatoes and drain it. All right. So we got that done. So let's cook our eggs first and then we'll cook the potatoes so that the pan is very hot. Put a little bit of non-stick spray in here. We've tried all kinds of pans over the last several years. The one that we actually use the most is these two. This is a big cast iron one. I can't remember. I think it's 17 inch, somewhere around there, 17 or 20. Actually, it might be 21. I think it is. I think it's 21 actually. And then this cheap non-stick pan that was in our camping tote. We use this one every morning for breakfast, and then we use this for bigger things. And these are pretty much the only two pans we use. We use pots, obviously, to boil water, but pans, this is pretty much it. That came from Lodge Cast Iron, just in case you're curious. Can't remember where exactly it is. I think it was in Tennessee, if I remember right. I could be wrong about that. But we went on a road trip and we picked it up on the way. And they have a little outlet portion for anything that's not exactly 100% uniform. And I think it had a little scratch or blemish on it. And so it was, I think, 50% off, if I remember right. And they had a whole pile of things like that, from smaller pans to bigger pans to woks and that type of stuff. So if you ever visit the cast iron Lodge store, look it up. Definitely a good place. All right, so we'll put a little bit of pepper in here. We'll hold off on the salt till we flip it over. Salt alters the way that the protein in the egg cooks. You can see that if you put salt in it, you'll get all these tiny air bubbles. So we'll hold off on that. They should cook pretty quick though. I got the flame up on about a 8.5 to 9 on a gas stove. I'll put it at 8. Get our margarine together, that way as soon as we're done with the eggs, we can put our potatoes in. And you can definitely use butter. Butter will actually help these brown a little bit more. You'll notice when we're done with these, They're not super brown, but they're crispy. They are crispy. That the butter really makes them brown. However, both me and my wife are dairy-free, not by choice, so we have to stick with margarine, which is kind of a pain in the butt, but it's okay. It is what it is. All right, so we're done on one side. Let's flip it. Let's put a little pepper, and then we'll put salt on this side. There we go. I'll let that cook for just another second or two. We'll flip it out. We'll put the potatoes in, and we'll put margarine on top so the margarine kind of leaks through and heats up, cooking it evenly. All right, eggs are done. Put those in there. Let's flip our potatoes in. And let's get a couple dabs of margarine. I like to put about 3. You know, a big part of margarine is just water, whereas butter, you know, obviously most of it's dairy. So you can get away with a lot more margarine in reality than you can butter. But some people love butter. You know, like my dad, he eats a stick of butter a day. Has normal cholesterol, normal fat, you know, everything like that. So good job, Dad. Keep up the butter. All right. So as you can see, the margarine's melting. We'll give that a little swirl to disperse that margarine on the bottom side of the potatoes. And you want to keep this real hot, but you have to be careful because it will go from cooking to crispy to burnt super quick. So the smoke isn't always the greatest indicator, because right now you probably can't see it on the camera, but there's some smoke around the edge. It's actually steam, because it's cooking off not only the water in that margarine, but it's also cooking off the water that's in the potatoes because they're rehydrated. So, all right, let's get a spatula. We'll use this fancy dancy Christmas looking one here today. And let's give it a little testy. So it's starting to brown. So we're getting there. Already. These cook pretty quick, you know, surprisingly. So the best way I've found is look around the edges. You'll see some of these start getting a little brown. That's when you know you're kind of getting there, and you just got to keep checking every now and then. And the way like Denny's and those places do it is they have a flat top grill that is crazy hot, and they put these super thin to get them really, really crispy. Sometimes I think they're over crispy and they're just dry. They're like, you know, chewing, what's those old Chinese noodles that came in a can back in the day? They probably still make them. So I like them crispy, but not that crispy. See how we're doing. All right, we're getting brown. We're getting there. Another minute or so and they should be good. All right, let's test this side. All right, and we are good. Let's see if we can do the flip here. Look at that. Look at that. Didn't even spill it everywhere. Look at that, awesome. Now I'm going to put just a little bit more margarine along the edge here. Let that kind of work its way down to the bottom side since we flipped this. Let it kind of meld over into the middle a little as well. I'm going to put one little drop right in the middle there too. because what I put around the edges usually gets in about that far, and then that center will melt down. All right, get this spare bowl out of here. Let's give it a check, see how we're doing. We're getting a little crispy, so we're getting close already. I'm gonna move this extra margarine that didn't melt so quick over. There we go. See, a lot of smoke now. That's the water from the margarine I just moved over. So it's steam, it's not actually smoke. So don't let that fool you. Don't flip it too early. It'll never be the same. And when I'm done with this, I'm not gonna flip it because the chances of it going everywhere are pretty high. It's kind of a 50-50 shot. So I'm gonna cook it though until the bottom looks just like the top. So you get that crispiness on both sides and you get a little bit of softness of the potato in the center. All right, let's take another peek, see how we're doing. All right, we are almost there. Another minute. Actually, not a minute, but a few seconds. Hear that sizzle? That's perfect. You want these pans hot to make hash browns. All right, I think we're done. Yep. All right, so we're starting to get just a little smoke. There's a couple little pieces that are a little charred. A couple little strands, which is totally fine. All right, guys, well, let's get this plated up and we'll eat. All right, guys, so we got it plated up. Give you a quick look there. We'll give it a taste test. We can grab a fork and knife and we'll see how we did. Back this up a little bit. There we go. So a lot of times I'll actually put this in a bowl like I did and just chop it up in the bowl. You know, it gets the yolk and everything mixed in together really well. But for presentation, I figured I'd put it on a plate for you. It'd be more like what you get at Denny's, right? Okay, let's give this a taste test. That's perfect. Just like Denny's. Only probably a little bit healthier for you. So, all right, guys. As always, if you would, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, have a good day. Thank you for watching.